If you're a creator of any kind, a musician, a writer, an artist, you've probably hit this wall. You look at the greats who came before you, the Shakespeares, the Picassos, the Bob Dylans, and this one absolutely terrifying question hits you, right? It feels like every chord's been struck, every story has been told. How are you supposed to find your own voice in a world that's just so full of echoes? This isn't just, a simple creative block. It's a really deep psychological battle that honestly defines the entire history of art. And this feeling, it has a name, the anxiety of influence. And for the better part of a century, two giants of literary theory have offered two totally opposite ways to deal with it. And trust me, their debate isn't just some stuffy academic thing. It's a real clash over what creativity even is. So, in one corner, you've got T.S. Eliot. He says the answer is to politely surrender to tradition. And in the other corner, there's Harold Bloom, who sees art history as this brutal, psychological fight for survival. The question is art a quiet, orderly museum, or is it a bloody battlefield? So let's start with Eliot's vision. For him, the way you solve this anxiety is by, getting rid of your ego. The whole thing. It's not about winning some fight against the past. It's about earning your little spot in a grand, ongoing conversation with the masters. And this quote just says it all. For Eliot, the key to making real progress as an artist is to erase yourself. You don't try to be shockingly new and different. You try to become a seamless part of something way, way bigger than you. And here's how he saw it working. A new work of art is made. It gives up its unique personality and just slots itself into the existing order of masterpieces. Then, and this is the cool part, the whole tradition just shifts ever so slightly to make room for it. Think about it. When Eliot wrote his poetry, he didn't erase an old poet like John Donne. No, he made us see Donne differently, as a kind of precursor to modernism. The whole museum just rearranged its shelves a little. See? No violence, no big rebellion, it's all very civilized. But then, Harold Bloom comes crashing into this quiet museum, basically shouting that Eliot has it all wrong. Bloom says this polite, orderly vision is a complete fantasy. For him, art history is a messy, personal, and violent family drama. Yeah, he gets pretty intense. He puts it in Freudian terms. The new artist, the son, is totally in love with the work of their predecessor, the father. But then they have this horrible realization: the father's already done everything. There's no space left. So to survive, the son has to, metaphorically, kill the father. So how do you do that? Well, you do it through something Bloom calls a strong misreading. This is brilliant. The new artist doesn't just copy the past, they twist it. They deliberately read their hero wrong, on purpose, all to create a little crack, a little gap where their own originality can finally start to grow. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Strong misreading, audible struggle, this is all getting very abstract. So let's make it super concrete. There's this fantastic example using two classic kids' books that makes Bloom's whole theory just click into place. All right, so in this corner we have our precursor, our literary father figure, the little engine that could. It's the ultimate story of American can-do willpower. The philosophy is simple: I think I can. And in the other corner, we have our belated poet, our anxious son, Tony the Tow Truck. His philosophy? I cannot. He literally gets stuck in the mud. He fails. So how does poor Tony create his own space? How does he avoid just being a weaker, sadder version of the little engine? He performs what Bloom calls a clinamen. It's a fancy term from physics, but it just means a swerve. Let me show you what I mean. See, the little engine's entire world is built on one value: heroic, individual will. Tony can't compete in that world. He'd lose every time. So, he swerves. He changes the rules of the game. By admitting, I cannot, he creates a whole new universe where the most important thing isn't willpower at all. It's community. It's neighborliness. It's asking for and getting help. He creatively misread his father to build a world he could actually win in. Bloom also calls this an act of ascesis. It's basically a deliberate shrinking of your own ambition. Tony accepts he's not an epic engine. He's just a little tow truck. And it's in that smaller, more humble space that he finds his completely unique voice. Okay, so if this struggle is so deep and fundamental, what's the ultimate fantasy for the artist who feels this anxiety? Well, Bloom argues that we can find the answer in one of literature's all-time greatest rebels. He takes this idea to its most extreme conclusion with Satan from Milton's Paradise Lost. I mean, just think about it. Satan is the ultimate latecomer.
He was created by God, the ultimate precursor, the original OG. God came first. How could Satan possibly be original? He solves this impossible problem with an absolutely magnificent creative lie. He tells his followers that he has no memory of ever being created. And hey, if he can't remember being made by God, what's the only other possibility? He must be self-made. He willed himself into existence, and that right there is the secret dream of every strong artist, to owe nothing to the past, to be your own creator. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? We've got Eliot's calm museum on one side and Bloom's chaotic family feud on the other. Why does any of this matter to anyone who isn't a literary critic?
Well, if you look at the world through Bloom's eyes, it completely reframed how we think about creativity. Art history isn't some peaceful library. It's a war zone of egos. Influence isn't about polite borrowing. It's a desperate fight for creative oxygen. And here's the kicker. Originality isn't born out of thin air. It's forged in the fire of creatively misunderstanding the very heroes you love the most.
And that really brings it all back to you, doesn't it? Who are your giants? Who are the heroes whose shoulders you're trying to stand on? And more importantly, what's the necessary creative lie you need to tell about them so you can finally find your own voice? What is your swerve?